Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be, I'm afraid to talk to girls. Got an email here from a viewer. He says, hey Corey, my problem is that I've been looking at a lot of YouTube videos on how to pick up girls and things like that. I learned a lot of things, but to be honest, it didn't help me out with my problem. I don't know if it's fear or something else, but I can't go talk to girls. I know what to say, how to use body language and things like that, but I just don't try to approach a girl. Should I search for professional help? Maybe. Because I really feel bad about my situation. So here when you say that you've read a lot of things, it hasn't helped you out with your problem, knowledge is only potential power. A lot of people, there's a saying out there that knowledge is power. Well, it's only potential power. And the reason I say that is because knowledge only becomes power when you actually apply it. Well, you're basically learning all this great knowledge and you're sitting there suffering from the paralysis of analysis, basically sitting in the sidelines in life and watching everybody else have all of the fun while you sit there on the sidelines all wrapped up in your head and your mind, creating all these ridiculous scenarios where you get rejected spectacularly with women. And at the end of the day, you're going to get rejected. As a matter of fact, most of the women that you like and that you want, they're not going to feel the same way. And in order to get dates, you have to talk to women. In order to get phone numbers, you got to talk to women. And if you're not talking to women, if you're not interacting with women, then you're not going to be getting dates, you're not going to be getting phone numbers, and you're not going to be getting better. And at the end of the day, when you first start practicing, you're pretty much going to suck. If you're starting out from like ground zero where you're at, you're going to suck. And you got to give yourself permission to suck, and you also got to give yourself permission to fail. Because at the end of the day, in order to get a yes from a woman, meaning she says yes to a date and actually keeps it and goes out and you have a great time, you have to get through the no's. And women are going to say no to you. And most women, 99.9% of them, are going to be really cool and really sweet and really nice to you. But every once in a while, maybe 1 out of 100, you're going to encounter just a fucking foul bitch. A chick that is just, you just caught her on a bad day and she's in a shitty mood. And if she looks at your body language and physiology and you're communicating that you're apologizing for talking to her, she's not going to appreciate your weak-ass bullshit, and she's going to fucking lower the boom on you, and she may be rude, or she may tell you to get away, or leave her alone, or don't look at me, or she's just be a fucking nasty bitch. And at the end of the day, one thing you got to remember is no one will ever do or say anything that isn't a direct reflection of how they feel about themselves in a moment. And so if a woman is being a bitch to you and is being nasty, is because she thinks that she can get away with it, and because you, in essence, are inviting her to do it. No one will ever do or say anything to you that you don't invite them to do. And so if you're communicating dominance, if you're communicating alpha energy, and when a woman's nasty, you say, holy shit, wow, you're in a really great mood. You get on the wrong side of the bed, like, oh my God, well, you know what? I'm sorry that your day sucks so bad that you're so grumpy and grouchy, but I thought you were amazing and I wanted to come over and talk to you, but maybe I'm kind of sorry that I did because I thought you were a nice girl, but it turns out you're really not a nice girl. If you got to come back like that, if a chick's being rude and really nasty, if you don't give a fuck what she thinks, because at the end of the day, you got to get through the no's in order to get to the yeses, and so you occasionally once in a while you run into a foul bitch. It's like, hey man, it's the way life is. I mean, being on the internet and doing what I do and putting my work out there, I get plenty of nasty comments and nasty emails from people that are just fucking weak and lethargic, and they're just projecting their own self-hatred and self-loathing onto me, because if they can demean my work and belittle it in some way and dismiss it, then they can walk away from it, because the stuff, when they read what I teach, it makes them feel uncomfortable because they know they got to deal, just like you feel uncomfortable about talking to women. You feel afraid to talk to women. Other people feel uncomfortable and afraid in the same way, and so their way of getting around it is by attacking me and trying to belittle me or saying a nasty comment on either sending me an email or making a nasty comment on YouTube. And it's like, it's just easier to block jackasses than deal with them. But it's just, if you're going to be in the public eye, or just anything for that matter, if you're even on Facebook, you can just be chatting with some friends on Facebook, and all of a sudden somebody is just in a fucking shitty mood. It's like people think beyond the internet, thuggery is okay. It's just, that's the way people are. It's like you can't take it personally. All you got to do is look at it and say, hey, they're just projecting the shit that's inside of them. And one of the things that the Buddha said that I thought was so beautiful, they were in this village, and the people there weren't very receptive to what he was teaching, and people were being like nasty and saying harsh things to him, and he was just calm, he's peaceful, he's relaxed, And after they left the village, one of his disciples or his students came up. He's like, Master, why? It's like, I can't believe you didn't get upset. It's like these people, it's like, God, they were so rude, and you were just so calm and just relaxed and peaceful and kind. And he's like, I don't understand. How do you do it? And he just says, when someone gives you a gift and you don't accept that gift, to whom does the gift belong? In essence, what he's saying is someone wants to give you a steaming pile of dog shit and say, hey, here, deal with this. And you can say, no thanks, I'm not going to deal with that. You can keep that for yourself. Have a nice day, and you move on. And so the key is not to let other people that are having a shitty day get you down, or inhibit you, or hinder you, or make you feel fearful to the point where you feel paralyzed, you can't even talk to anybody. I mean, at the end of the day, the best way to start out is I did a video a while back called Improving Your Social Skills. You should go to the mall and start talking to people. Go talk to clerks. Start out talking to people that you feel comfortable talking to. If it's just dudes or old people, go to talk to clerks in the mall and just get used to striking up conversations and asking questions of people. It's stuff that I talk about. Go and ask people's opinions on things. Go to a hardware store and tell a dude you're looking for an electric drill and you'd like some recommendations. And then you sit there and ask some questions and let the guy go through and say, oh, it's really great. I really appreciate all the information. What was your name? Bob? Hey, thanks a lot, Bob. My name is George. Nice to meet you. Or whatever your name happens to be. And do that for a while until that feels comfortable. And then start going up to women. Go into Victoria's Secret if you're scared to talk to women and say, I'm looking to get something from one of my girlfriends. And say that to her. He's like, but I'm not sure. And she's like, well, what size are you? He's like, well, she's kind of your style, your body build. And I'm trying to get her something really cool. And you can it can be an imaginary girlfriend. You just go in and talk to her. Talk to these women in Victoria's Secret just so you can get used to talking to women. And it'll totally disarm them if they think you're buying a thing for a girlfriend. You're like, well, she's kind of your build, your kind of style. And say, what would you recommend? What do you think would look really great on her that she would be really like? And let her take you around the store and go, I really appreciate it. After she gets done, just say, I really appreciate your time. It gives me some great ideas. And what was your name? And he's like, you have a card? And, and then you can leave. And it's like, so you get used to talking to women. You realize they're not going to bite your head off. And so you keep taking it a step further until you feel comfortable about it. And here's the thing. When you talk to enough people, when you move around in the ways that I talk about, I mean, you can just go to the mall and walk around using the body language and the physiology that I talk about, and you're going to notice, because there'll be thousands of people at the mall. If you walk around with the body language and the physiology and a big shit-eating grin and smile on your face, it kind of says like you know something that they don't know, like just a smirk like James Bond has. And I'm referring to the Daniel Craig character because he does such a great job, a great visual job of seeing a dude, of portraying a guy and how to interact like an alpha male dominant type of man in an interaction. And just go and do that. I mean, you got to start somewhere. You don't have to be great to start, but you got to start in order to be great. I mean, if you just sit here, what's changing? Nothing. How is your life getting better? It's not. And guess what? The amount of days that you got left in this planet is getting shorter, and the amount of days that you've been on the planet is getting longer. And so, I mean, look at it this way: 500 years from now, nobody's going to give a shit who you were or the fact that you were afraid of women or whatever. They're not going to know who you were or who I was. They're not going to care about any of us. They're going to be focused on their own busy fucking lives. So it doesn't matter. And the great thing about going to the mall is there's thousands of people at a normal, busy type of mall. And so you're never going to see those people again. So who cares if you flame out or look like a jackass? You got to give yourself permission to fail and fail spectacularly. Get it over with. Go out there and fail because it's not a big deal. Because I guarantee you this. Every guy I've ever coached and then has followed what I teach, has gone to the mall and practiced this stuff, they all say the same fucking thing. Dude, that was a lot easier than I thought it would be. Once I got going, I got into the flow of things, it was pretty easy. It was like ridiculously easy. So your fear of doing what you fear doing is actually worse than actually doing what you fear. So when you actually practice what you're afraid of and you get rejected by a few girls and you're like, wow, that wasn't really that bad. So your goal should be to get out there and get your first 10 rejections under your belt. Look at it that way. Keep track of it. And maybe 1 out of 10 says yes. Maybe it's 1 out of 20. It's like, who fucking cares? Out of 100 women, worst case, you might get 4 or 5 really good, high-quality prospects where, meaning, you asked those girls out on a date, and they were excited that you asked them out, and they kept the date. you'll still get some that'll break the date or cancel for flaky reasons or whatever, or they'll ignore you when you text them, or they won't show. I mean, that may happen every once in a while, but it's like, when you're just starting out, it's like you don't know what you don't know. It's like, I mean, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Well, we know sitting on the sidelines and doing nothing is getting you no results. Your life isn't getting any better. Nothing is changing. The only thing that's changing is that your life is getting shorter. The amount of days you got left on this planet is getting shorter. So when is now a good time to get off of your ass, go to the mall, and start asking people for opinions? Forget about asking for phone numbers. Forget about asking dates. You're not allowed to ask anybody out on a date for 30 days. Put a moratorium on making dates with chicks. And so have this rule for yourself that you'll only give out your phone number. And you can do this. You can go to the mall if you're chatting with a chick and you're like, say she's telling you about some art fair or some shit coming up this week because you get to talking with her and she tells you that she's into art or whatever. And she's telling you about this big art fair that's coming up she's all excited about. It's like, that sounds really cool. Well, if you're down here this weekend and you think it's cool and you think I should come down and check it out, shoot me a text or something, and maybe I'll meet you if I'm available and free. Maybe I'll meet you down there. And if she likes you, she'll pull out her phone and go, oh, what's your number? And if she doesn't, she'll go, yeah, I'll give you a text. And she'll never pull out her phone and ask you for her number. It's really fucking simple. So you're not allowed to ask anybody for phone numbers. You're only allowed to give out your phone number for the next 30 days. And go around and just start asking people questions. Just sit there in the line, shoot the shit. If you're getting ready to, you're trying to pay for your gas and you're standing in line, you see some dude pull up in this utility truck with all kinds of equipment and shit hanging off of it. Say, holy shit, dude, you got like a regular hardware store hanging off your truck in there. It's like, what do you do for a living? Simple thing like that. You see a hot looking chick, turn around, she's all dressed up. It's like, wow, you're all dressed up to kill. It's like, what are you, an attorney? Pharmaceutical, what do you do? It's like, it's all you have to do. It's like, people love to talk about themselves. It's brilliant. You just let them talk about themselves and they'll chew your ear off. And before you know it, you'll be at the end of the line. You're like, hey, it was nice chatting with you. Have a great day. Or, hey, that sounds really cool. Well, if you get into something, if you're down there at that event or if you're down at the boat show or whatever it happens to be, shoot me a text if you think it's cool and I should come and check it out. Girls that like you will pull out their phone and go, oh, let me get your number. And they'll call you and they'll text you. I mean, you can go down there and meet them and hang out, have fun, and hook up. Really simple. Don't complicate things. Try that. You got to start somewhere. You don't have to be great to start, but you got to start in order to become great. When is now a good time to make a change in your life for the better? Something to think about. So if you have a question you want to ask me, go to my website, click the Contact Me tab, which will be on the left-hand side of your screen. Send me 1 to 2 paragraphs max, and just give me several weeks to get back to you with a response. If you want to talk to me right away, the quickest way to get my help is to book a paid phone coaching session. You can do that by going to my website, click the Products tab at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions. If you want to get a digital version of my Kindle ebook, on my website, underneath the email sign-up box, is a box that has a link that will take you right to the Amazon Kindle download page for my book. Once you get there, if you don't have a Kindle device, just download one of their free e-reader apps for whatever electronic device you want to read my book on. And if you appreciate the value of the information I offer in these video newsletters, the articles on my website, or my ebook, you can show your appreciation right now by going to my website. And on the Wibia toolbar at the bottom of your screen, click the PayPal donate button and donate any amount that you feel is equal to the value of the information. And I will talk to you soon.